For centuries, the Mid-Autumn Festival brought families together under the brightest moon, until one year, the magic vanished. New moon, the mooncakes lost their flavor, the lanterns dimmed, and whispers spread, the jade rabbit was gone. Rabbit dashing away, the moon fox has trapped the jade rabbit. Without him, the festival will fade forever. Will they find the lost mooncake recipe? Can they outsmart the moon fox? Smash that like button to cheer them on, and subscribe to join the adventure. Rocket. Once upon a time, there was a village nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling river. It was almost time for the annual Mid-Autumn Festival, also known as the Moon Festival. Children were decorating their homes with red lanterns and adults were preparing delicious mooncakes filled with sweet bean paste. But this year, something was off. The mooncakes tasted bland. The lanterns refused to light up, and worst of all, the moon looked smaller than usual. The kids were too scared to tell their parents because they were afraid they'd ruin the joyful mood. But then came the ultimate horror when little Xiao Ming pointed at the moon and shouted, "Quick, everyone look! The jade rabbit's shadow is missing from the moon." Indeed, looking closer, it seemed that the playful creature was no longer hopping around. The usually happy villagers became gravely worried. How could the Mid-Autumn Festival continue without the jade rabbit? Afraid and confused, they gathered together for guidance. But before anyone could speak, an ancient scroll fluttered down from the sky and unrolled itself, revealing a message in elegant script. The moon fox has stolen the jade rabbit and hidden her in the realm of forgotten legends. Without the rabbit, the moon will lose its glow and the festival will be ruined forever. If you wish to save the day, you must venture to the Cloud Kingdom, retrieve the jade rabbit and bring her back to the mortal realm before the first rays of dawn. With these ominous words, the scroll vanished. Suddenly, everyone was silent. No one had ever heard of the realm of forgotten legends, let alone the Cloud Kingdom. And how could they possibly find the sneaky moon fox? Just then, two brave kids stepped forward. They were best friends, Xiao Ming and his sister Mei Ling. "We'll do it," said Mei Ling confidently. "Don't worry, everyone. We'll bring the jade rabbit back." Although most villagers doubted the kids' plan, they couldn't think of any other option. So they wished the children good luck and sent them off with some supplies. As soon as they were out of earshot, the siblings began their journey. Lucky for them, a wise old woman spotted them struggling to carry their stuff. "Heave ho, young travelers," she said warmly. "Hop aboard my cloud chariot. I'll give you a ride to the Cloud Kingdom." After thanking her profusely, the kids climbed aboard. Sure enough, the cloud chariot shot straight into the sky, leaving the village and its worries behind. The old woman flew them over vast stretches of fluffy white clouds dotted with sparkling rainbows and tiny houses made of spun sugar. But soon they reached the edge of the clouds. Below lay a dark and swirling vortex that seemed to suck in all light and warmth. Where do we go from here?" asked Xiao Ming nervously. "That's the realm of forgotten legends," replied the old woman. But you can't enter it empty-handed. You need a key to open the portal. Before the kids could ask what kind of key she meant, the old woman disappeared with a wave of her magic wand. Now completely alone, they looked around frantically for another solution. That's when they noticed the beautifully decorated moon lantern hanging from the cloud chariot. Could this be the key? When Xiao Ming held it, a sudden gust of wind lifted him and Mei Ling inside the realm of forgotten legends. The landscape that greeted them was both beautiful and eerie. Tall, thin trees lined the path ahead and strange, bioluminescent flowers bloomed in shades of indigo and violet. As they ventured deeper into the woods, the siblings realized that something was very wrong. The animals they passed didn't seem to notice their presence. Even the birds had stopped singing. Soon they came across a majestic lake reflecting the faint glow of the moon above. On its surface floated 3 enormous lotuses, each adorned with a single candle. Each lotus represented a challenge they'd have to overcome to rescue the Jade Rabbit. First, they faced the singing dragon gate. Majestic yet intimidating, its stone surface was adorned with intricate carvings of mythical beasts and heroes. Suddenly, a deep voice boomed, "Only those who sing the ancient festival song may pass." Startled, the children looked at each other. Neither of them knew the song, but they remembered their granny singing it joyfully while making mooncakes. So they closed their eyes, took a deep breath and began to sing. When the last note faded away, the dragon head on the gate rumbled approvingly. The path ahead opened and the gate slid aside, allowing them to pass. Next, they came across a bridge that stretched across a bottomless chasm. An inscription above read, "I'm round like the moon, sweet like family." What am I? For a moment, Xiao Ming was stumped. Then he suddenly realized, "Mooncake," he exclaimed, and the bridge shimmered, confirming his answer. Finally, they reached the third and final trial. But before they could take a step toward it, a huge net swooped down and trapped them. Startled, they looked around wildly for their attacker, only to see a cunning fox grinning at them from above. "Welcome, children, to my humble abode," she purred sweetly. "My name is Moon Fox. And you are trespassing on my territory." "We're sorry, Moon Fox," said Mei Ling politely. "But we're on a mission to save the Jade Rabbit and restore the Mid-Autumn Festival." The Moon Fox gasped dramatically. "You want to save the silly rabbit? In your dreams, children. She's already mine." And with a flick of her tail, she disappeared into a dark tunnel. Determined to reach the end of the tunnel, the siblings squeezed through a narrow opening. However, after walking what felt like hours, they found themselves right back where they started. Confused and frustrated, they tried again and again, but no matter which path they chose, they kept returning to the same spot. It was a maze with no end. Suddenly, Xiao Ming collapsed onto a nearby rock. He felt awful for not being able to save the Jade Rabbit. And to top it off, the first rays of sunlight were beginning to peek over the horizon, meaning they'd failed their quest. But just as they were about to give up hope, Mei Ling spotted a small opening hidden behind some bushes. Maybe it was a dead end, but it was worth a try. So they dashed toward it. As they squeezed through the opening, they found themselves in a vast and luxurious palace. Crystal chandeliers glittered overhead and golden koi fish swam gracefully in ornate ponds. But the most astonishing sight was the captive jade rabbit. She sat sadly in a corner, her usual cheerfulness replaced by fear and sadness. "Don't worry, Jade Rabbit," said Mei Ling, "we've come to save you." The moon fox emerged from the shadows. "So you found my secret lair," she sneered. "But there's nothing you can do now. This place is protected by powerful magic. You'll never get out alive." "Is that so?" Mei Ling challenged. "What if we restore the moon's glow and bring the Mid-Autumn Festival to this forgotten realm? Would your magic still hold then?" Taken aback by her unexpected response, the moon fox hesitated. She hadn't considered this possibility. Before she could react, however, the children used their last remaining strength to activate their moon lantern. A surge of warm energy pulsed outwards, banishing the shadows and filling the palace with light. Startled, the moon fox cowered, shielding her eyes with a paw. In an instant, the rabbit's cage vanished and she hopped joyfully toward the children. Together, they raced toward the exit, eager to escape the collapsing palace. As they burst out of the tunnel, they saw a magnificent sight. The moon was shining brightly in the night sky once again. Lanterns lit up, casting dancing shadows on the ground, and the jade rabbit happily hopped beside them. Cheers and laughter echoed through the village as people young and old celebrated the return of their beloved festival. The jade rabbit, grateful for their help, gifted the children with magic moon seeds. These mystical seeds promised to blossom into beautiful flowers that would forever remind the villagers of their bravery. Overjoyed, the siblings watched as their friends and neighbors began planting the seeds around the village. As the night wore on, Xiaoming and Mei Ling snuggled close to their parents, feeling proud and content. Despite the challenges they'd faced, they knew they'd done something truly special. They'd saved the Mid-Autumn Festival and reminded everyone of the importance of family, love, and sharing. As the first rays of sunlight touched the horizon, the siblings awoke. The moon hung high in the sky, casting its gentle glow over the land. Beside them, the mooncake they'd shared during their adventure had vanished, leaving only a faint scent of sweet bean paste in the air. Hand in hand, they watched the sunrise, knowing that their adventure had brought them closer together and strengthened the bonds of their community. The end.